Alright, well, hello everyone, and I am so glad that you're able to join me today. So, I'm starting a new series where I just want to start getting real and being more open. I feel like you guys have been rocking with me since I started, and I'm so appreciative. And to kind of just dive in, I want to start talking more about how my mind thinks, where I think we should go, and the responsibilities of people, black people specifically. And this is more on a global aspect, but we're talking about today the United States. So I want to talk about being black and being an immigrant in the United States. And these are my opinions, but a lot of things are based off of life experiences, talking to a lot of different people, living in Orlando, living in Miami, living in Atlanta, and living in Chicago. All areas where there are a large population of black people as a whole, and a large population of black immigrants are there as well, because there's such a large population of black people. So I just kind of want to talk about my experiences and go down a list. I've made some questions. So the first one is there a disadvantage to being an immigrant? And I would argue that it's not a disadvantage to be an immigrant if we're just looking at specifically if you're an immigrant, is there automatically a disadvantage to you? I will 100% disagree with that. And that is because it all depends on some factors. One, your socioeconomic status. Money rules everything around us, and if you come to a new country with a lot of money, there is no disadvantage to you. You will not have any of those struggles that people that are at a lower socioeconomic status anywhere would face. And I know that because I have friends that came here, and I've actually gone to other countries, and I did not have any disadvantage when I was living there or staying there for an extended amount of time, just because I was not born there and I was not a citizen there. I had money, I had connections, I had a free place to stay, I had a job. If you have all those things, there is no disadvantage. It's just that I woke up on Monday doing one thing on this part of the world, and I woke up on Wednesday doing something different on another part of the world. But I never had to worry about where I was going to eat. I had clothes, I had air, I had food. I even had a little bit of friends. I think that's the main thing. When you come to another country, you don't have that many friends, but depending on who your connects are, you can get some friends. So let's start by that. Depending on who is coming to America, your struggles will not be equal to natural born citizens that do not have any generational wealth, which is why I focus so much on generational wealth. That is going to be the thing that's going to take us to the next, our next level holistically. And I'm excited because people are waking up, but no, if you have those things, there's no issue. Even those people that say, well, I had some money, but then we shut down our business and whatever our home country was, and we came over here with only $100 on our name. Well, you may have only had $100, but you were staying with your auntie or uncle for free. That's free housing. You were able to work underneath their business, and so you did not go without unemployment. Okay, you missed your home, but if you have those two things, food, shelter, and a job, what struggle did you have? You were not out of work for 6 months. I'm talking to that, which is, that's a lot. That's the narrative that I am connected to. That's the narrative that I see. So we talk about specifically even Nigerians, you know, that's being pushed right now. They are the most educated in the United States, but in order to even get here, you have to spend, I think, 50,000 naira on a visa, get approved, get a plane ticket to come over here. A lot of people that live there will never see that because the poverty is so low. They are begging for food to survive for the day, for the week. They will never come to America. So the best of the best is coming. And that is specifically in that country was an example, but that is everywhere. The best of the best is coming. So to compare the best of one country with the poor or worst, for lack of a better word, of this country is not fair. That's based off a stereotype. And so that goes into another thing. I believe as an immigrant, when you're in another country, it's your duty to understand what is a stereotype and what is not, and the value to know the difference and to act accordingly. Wherever you came from, you left, or your family decided to leave because there was a better opportunity here. With that being said, there are pros to your home country and there are cons to your home country. You see that. You do not base one experience or one group or one subgroup of a whole group and have that represent your entire country, your entire experience. So why would you do that here and base one subgroup or one experience on how you feel all of Black Americans or how you view all of Black Americans? It's vice versa. I choose not to. I choose to look at the stereotypes when I go to these different countries. I've gone to Australia, Brazil, and Nigeria, just to name a few. I've gone to way more, and I don't do that. And when I talk to some people, sometimes they do, and I'm like, but I could list 5 stereotypes off of your country, and you know that's not true. And you get upset when people do that to you, but you turn around and do the same to us. We kind of have to stop that. And we have to do it now. And not only do we have to stop it, then you have to go to your parents and explain to them that that is an ignorant way of thinking and it's not helping us globally. It's not helping us as a local community in these cities. As a nation, it's not helping. And it's your right, now that you're living here, to erase that. And this is anything. If I were to go and live in the UK or to live in Nigeria, like, it is my right to not exude these stereotypes that I have of the people that I'm living right next to, my neighbors, the country that made it so that I could come here. And so that's another thing. It's very imperative to know your history. Know that in the 50s and 60s, the United States did not want citizens from the continent of Africa to come to the United States, and our grandparents were the ones marching and protesting and making sure that Africa was not shut out when they were letting Asians and all the Europeans in, but they were not trying to let you in. And then because we know that together we're better, and that's not fair. And so that is part of Black history that we need to understand. Or the fact that the first woman millionaire was a Black woman. There's just so many parts of history that you have to take advantage of. We've been succeeding, we've been excelling, and I don't want one version of what the media shows to be all that you address and all that you associate, because it's just a media stereotype. That's all it is. It's not real. Why aren't Black Americans doing better? If I come here and do that, so I've talked about socioeconomic status and connections and staying with family, and how that's not really a struggle in the terms of what people living on the streets and stuff deal with. It's just a very different type of issue, but it's not really a struggle. And I would argue that we are doing well. We are doing extremely well. Yes, we have a lower class citizenship portion of our people, but that is everywhere. So do you, and I'm talking to whoever is there. So do you at your country. So do you. We all have that. But that's unfair for you to compare yourself or the best of your people to the lowest of ours and say holistically we're not doing well, when we have from people going to the Ivy Leagues. We've had Black people going to the Ivy Leagues for over 100 years. That's nothing new. We have HBCUs filled with Black people. We have millionaires of black people. We have black communities that are rich, and we have cities such as Charlotte, Atlanta, Houston that are becoming black meccas of people that are making a lot of money and having these black businesses. Like, we have that. My parents, when they took advantage, when Reagan allowed schools to go really cheap for, I think it was either minorities and first generation, they took advantage. Both of them are first generation and the first ones to go to college, and they took advantage of that. And for that catapulted my family to a different socioeconomic rank than what they had before. And generationally, we will benefit off of that. But my story is not unique. There are a lot of people that do that. And every city I go to that I've lived in, I've met other like-minded individuals that are like that. We are educated. We are starting businesses. We have these organizations such as the Chicago Urban League and the National Black MBA that bring people together, and we do that, and we are doing that. And that's not the unnorm. That is the regular. There is organizations such as Management and Leadership for Tomorrow. Like, the list goes on and on. We are doing that. It's just not going to be on the news, and it's never going to be on the news. And understand that is put in place to separate you so that you can think that you are better than, or you are different. And we globally are the majority in this world, and we have to kind of, in my opinion, we have to get together and do that. So stereotypes are just that, stereotypes. Should I give back to the community that I live in, or should all I do is send money back? I think that is your God-given right to give back, period. And I think that it's your God-given right to give back, to help the people that look like you in the nation that you live, in the community that you live. I 100% agree that you need to be out there, and if you're not, there's shame on you for you to come in and take advantage of the resources, take advantage of being there, but not want to stretch your hand to your neighbor so that they can do the same. I'm going to kind of put it like this. Let's talk about the quote from Get Out, and Samuel Jackson basically saying that he was upset that people were bringing in Africans that aren't black Americans. The guy was from the UK, and he was playing an African American. And what's my opinion on that? Twofold. One, he has a point. He does have a point. Being black in America has a unique stance. For instance, on my dad's side of the family, my grandma is from Mount Bayou, Mississippi, which is one of the first cities that was founded by former slaves. Powerful story. It's in my blood. I'm so proud, right? My mom's side, on my grandpa's side, we don't have family reunions on his side, on the dad's side, because what happened was there was a situation where a white man was disrespecting his wife. He got into some sort of altercation. He killed him, had to get on a train and come north, and he lost complete communication with his family after that. So those are just two samples of the stories that are ingrained in me, that I grew up knowing. And when I ask the questions, why do we have family reunions on one side but not the other? Where is that family? And they had to tell me a very real story. You can't relate to that if you can trace your tribe for, thousands of years. It's just not the same. However, global white supremacy is our issue, not each other. And just because they may not have that specific story does not mean that they have not experienced supremacy, white supremacy, racism, hardships, or anything like that from our common enemy, which is white people, which is white supremacy. So it's different, but it's the same. And he can do that. But here's my thing. If America is going to be the creme de la creme, right? The MBA of everything, then where, and we only have a pot, because we still have racism here, so we only have a pot of people that are going to hire black actresses and actors. And if the pot is already full, and then all the other nations want to come here for the land of opportunity, the land of milk and honey, and jump in that pot, now the resources haven't increased. The number of black movies haven't increased. The producers may have increased a little bit, but they haven't really increased. There's still a lot of movies that don't want any black person regardless of where you're from, right? So with that being said, we can't just only have people importing without exporting. Where do the actors that are just starting out, because everyone's not going to be fortunate to be a Taj Mowry and Lance Steph at 5 or Dakota Fanning. Like, a lot of people have to grow in their craft and get better. So where do they go? Can they go to the Caribbean? Can they go to Bollywood? Can they go to Nollywood? What can they do? What is the D-League for Americans? If everybody wants to come here and we're letting you come here and we're not complaining, where do we go to get experience? And that's just, I'm giving movies, but that's in anything. That's why it's important for you to give back. If you're only giving money back or sending money back and you're not doing anything to help, then how can we grow as a whole? There are a lot of issues in these different countries that can be fixed if black Americans were aware, were new, and knew that was a passion project. You know, Nigeria has a special place in my heart because I took the DNA test. That was like, okay, identity, now I have a connection. Now I've also had a lot of friends that have invited me into their culture, into their homes, even into their homes in their country, so I have a deeper connection for that. That is my why. Now I can bring my knowledge from the university that I have gone to, or my experiences at corporate America, and I can bring that over. But what if you can do that with people that are studying engineering here, people that I studied urban planning here? Like, you have, but in order to have that connection, the connections just aren't like, you should do this. It was like based off of genuine friendships. How do you do that? By giving back. A 5-year-old or a 12-year-old is going to always remember, their mentor that came and sat down with them and spent time with them, every other week at lunch, if you did Big Brothers Big Sisters, or they're always going to remember their formative years. And so if no one is present but just black Americans, then that is what they're going to latch on to. And that is why it's important just to give back to something. And I mean anything. It could be as simple as doing #lunchbag. If you're an engineer, join the National Society of Black Engineers and giving back. You can do Big Brothers Big Sisters. There's the DeSable Museum, anything. But it is your God-given right to do that. And if I was living in another country, it's my God-given right to help the black people in whatever country I'm living in and benefiting from. If I move to London, it's my right to volunteer. When I was in Africa, there was a convention that was going on with She Leads Africa, and I went and they asked my opinion about looking at the location, and I gave my ideas. I could have been like, there's children starving in the south side of Chicago. I'm just going to hold my money and hold my time and not do anything. But why? I'm here in the country, enjoying the country, learning the history, enjoying myself. It didn't cost me any money, but just time to come and give my presence and my idea. Why not do that? Who am I hurting? I'm just hoping, because now I'm building a connection. Now people are seeing. And it's giving me a broader experience of who I am as a person. And the more I saw, because I embrace myself, the more I realized we are all similar and not different. And I believe it is your God-given right to give back. And if you are in a country where there are black people suffering, which majority of the people are that are looking at this, it is your God-given right to give back to the people that are your neighbors, that you pass every day. That is karma.